Maryland is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. And I'm delighted to hear my good friend from Pennsylvania make his presentation. I was surprised that he described these three bills as completely irrelevant, given that one is about protecting the integrity of the federal civil service, a force of more than 2 million people that are doing the work of the American people in the National Park Service, in the Department of Energy, in the Department of Defense, in the Department of State, in Homeland Security, and so on. I don't know what's completely irrelevant about that, nor do I understand what's completely irrelevant about protecting the rights and our encouragement of federal workers to be whistleblowers when there is massive waste, fraud, abuse, or exploitation taking place of the taxpayers' money. That's an essential purpose of government. We've got a government that is an instrument of the will of the people, and we have a lot of public policies that are being enforced, but we want to make sure that they're being enforced correctly and that the people's taxpayer monies are being respected. And the whistleblowers are helping us do that and blowing the whistle on hundreds of millions of dollars of waste and corruption and abuse that have taken place. And why we would turn a blind eye to that and describe it as completely irrelevant is beyond me. And of course, the census is foundational to the workings of American democracy, and we want to prevent precisely the kind of political finger painting all over the Census Bureau and our laws that we saw in the last administration. So I'm just curious whether the gentleman really believes that if the current president suggested that we take 40 or 50,000 federal workers who presently have civil service protection and put them directly under his control for political appointment, he would think that's a good idea, because our legislation will prevent any president in the future from doing that, including this Democratic president, any future Democratic presidents, any future Republican presidents or independents or anyone else. We don't think that's a good idea, and I can't believe that my good friend from Pennsylvania would just be agnostic as to that proposition. And let me just say, finally, about the whole question of what's relevant and what's irrelevant. It seems like all we're hearing from the other side is embodied in the big statement coming out of the Senate from Senator Lindsey Graham saying it's time for a national federal ban on abortion that could even be exceeded by the states. Now, originally, they said, well, Roe versus Wade is settled precedent. We accept that. Then they packed the court with their justices who were determined, hell-bent on overturning Roe versus Wade, and they did it. Then we heard from our friends across the aisle, well, this is a matter for the states. Let the states decide. And now we hear from our colleagues in Congress, no, they want a national criminal ban on the right of women to make their own decisions about their health, their families, their careers, and their futures. And then they will even allow states to go beyond that to completely ban abortion, which is, of course, the essential pro-life position which we've heard from our colleagues across the aisle. That's what they're focused on. Meantime, the president signed this week the Inflation Reduction Act, which will dramatically lower health care costs for tens of millions of Americans, and finally overturn the Republican ban on the government negotiating in the Medicare program with Big Pharma for lower prescription drug prices. So we're actually making progress. They want to drag everyone into their insatiable efforts to ban the right of abortion in America. And with that, I will reserve the remainder of my time.